Hey everybody, it is Trey here with another great edition of Reactions to the Classics. I'm joined by Shawn, and today we got a really fun one for you, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Are you experienced? I mean, just look at this album cover, man. You know you're in for a treat, and this is your first time joining us, guys. Really appreciate you stopping by. Here at Reactions to the Classics, we take a look at some of the most classic albums of all time and give a track-by-track review of it. Most of the time it's our first time listening to it. In this case, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. I was very familiar with it, but this was your first time. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that big red subscribe button. Alright, we upload twice a week, variety of genres. I guarantee you there's going to be something you like on there. And as always, we can't play the full studio version of the song, so we're going to have some cool live performances, some snippets of the studio versions here and there as well. But all that to say, man, let's get to it. And before we get into the quick facts, we are going to go through the US version. There's two different versions. The original UK, which didn't have Purple Haze, Hey Joe, and the Reprise, which are three of the best tracks on this record. So we're doing the US version here. That's kind of the version that has stood the test of time.
Yes.
So all that to say, man, let's get into some quick facts.
The US version was released in August of 1967, reached number 5 on the Billboard Top 200, and was instantly successful album-wise.
Yeah.
Sold over 1 million copies in the first 7 months that it was released. It was on the charts for over 106 weeks, so really put Jimmy on the map. He was already a huge star in the UK. In America, they were releasing singles, which we'll get into in the track-by-track review, and they weren't becoming hits. So it's kind of weird, but the album did become a hit pretty instantly. This bad boy is ranked number 15 by Rolling Stone on the top 500 albums of all time.
I think that's the highest one we've done yet.
And just a preview of the future, the other two they came out with are also in the top 100, so that is pretty lofty company. And 4 of the songs, which we'll get into in the track-by-track, are on Billboard's top 500 songs of all time. So this is a heavy hitter.
Yeah, Shawn, as you mentioned, they were really popular in Europe, but their first single, Hey Joe, didn't really have a mainstream push in the US at all.
Didn't even make the top 100,
Billboard
which is Hot 100.
Crazy, but their fortunes changed when Paul McCartney recommended them to the Monterey Pop Festival board and said, hey, this entire festival would be incomplete if you didn't have this guy Jimi Hendrix. He's an absolute ace on the guitar.
That was Paul's one. It all comes back to the Beatles, kid. He's one way or the other.
In some form or fashion. And they agreed, and kind of the rest is history. And there's a really famous moment in just rock live performance history where the famous picture and video where Hendrix sets his guitar on fire at the Monterey Pop Festival. It's just up in flames, and that really pushed them into US kind of mainstream.
Yeah, their record label in the US, Reprise Records, after that decided to start pushing the album. They actually had a $20,000 budget to push it, which doesn't sound like much nowadays, but back then was unheard of, especially for an artist that wasn't known in America, and that really got them over. And that kind of takes us into the first song, Purple Haze. Trey, this thing is number 17 by Rolling Stones on the top 500 songs of all time. It was the second single release, as you already mentioned. Hey Joe didn't chart. This only charted number 65 in the US, which is crazy. It went to number 3 in the UK, but it's in the Grammy Hall of Fame. And it was considered number 2 by Rolling Stones, the greatest guitar songs of all time.
I just really love this. The first seconds of the song, you just hear the
it's on. You know you are in the midst of greatness.
For 67, when this came out, I'm sure you spin this, you're like, wow, this doesn't sound like what I'm hearing on the radio. And you know, Hendrix has such a unique sound with the way he uses distortion and feedback. And I know I'm not a guitar player, I don't know all the ins and outs, but just reading, he was a master in the studio of manipulating the guitar in a way that was
reverb and everything else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Something very unique. And you get your first great Hendrix solo here on the first track.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add to that, you know, a few people who are close to him said that he hadn't even done LSD or any heavy drugs when he wrote this, so that would kind of throw out the I'm on an acid trip when I wrote this. But who knows, like you said, we were not there. Our Trey will take us right into the second track, Manic Depression, and it's simply about a guy who is in love with music Probably Jimmy.
Yeah.
And that's what he truly loves. And so he's only at peace when he's playing the music. And then the music has to end. He can't play it all the time. And that puts him in a manic depression. So, I mean, that's what the song's about.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that on this album, just kind of very raw, like emotional kind of lyrics that are personal, I think, to Jimmy, that he was putting through this music, and you got a big duality here, and I dug this one, not as much as Purple Haze, but I mean, that's a lofty comparison, and
it is.
I just thought the subject matter was pretty good and pretty upbeat, and then that takes us right into probably my favorite track on the entire.
Mine too.
It's ranked number 201 on the Rolling Stones Top Songs of All Time. Hey Joe. This is actually a cover, and the only cover on the entire record.
The only song that Hendrix did not write.
And it just has a very enthralling story about this guy whose woman is sleeping around, messing with another man, and he just goes, he takes the rash decision, and he goes and he shoots her. And when he shoots her, that's when you get a killer guitar solo, and Jimmy just goes in with it, almost like you can hear the bullets going, in a sense. So
he was good at playing emotions out through his guitar where you could feel it.
No, that's a great point, because unlike a lot of people where the guitar is second to the vocals, the guitar is the main obviously the main focus of each song.
Yeah, and talking about the guitar being the main thing, one little quick fact, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which Jimmy is obviously a part of, on his plaque it says he's considered the greatest instrumentalist of all time in rock music. That pretty much says everything.
That says all you need to know.
And I think you cover the song well. I mean, it's my favorite one on here. I think the first time I heard it, I was like, wow. And then you start listening to the lyrics and you go, oh, okay. I feel a little guilty for making it your favorite song, but it's unreal. So definitely highly recommend that one. That takes us right into Love or Confusion. What do you think of this one?
I like this one too, kind of a one that doesn't stick out as much as some of the others, but again, you kind of have that duality. Is this love or is this confusion? Jimmy's kind of confused about the life that he's living with this girl. Like, is he really in love with her, or at the end of the day, is this just a confusing relationship? So I appreciated that, and of course the instrumentation here is tight, as always. And then that takes us into another track about love, May This Be Love. This is a lot more laid back, kind of dreamy, and you hear the first quiet vocals from Jimmy, Waterfall.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, this is pretty cool, and I just dug the tempo change from the rest of the album here, and I just thought this was a great track.
Yeah, this track definitely sticks out as being different in a good way. I mean, it just really shows there's a wide range of stuff. You're like, oh, okay, here we go. So yeah, one of my favorite tracks on the album. All right, that takes us right into I Don't Live Today, which this song he dedicated to, he's part Cherokee, so he dedicated it to minorities and the Cherokee tribe, and I just thought it was really good.
Yeah, I did too, and this is where one of the best drum performances, Mitch Mitchell, who's Rolling Stone ranked him in the top 15 drummers of all time, and so that he kind of got unlucky being with Hendrix here.
No joke,
but he's unreal too. And I just thought this was great. And you mentioned the improvisation. There's throughout this whole album, but on this song in particular, you got voices that kind of fade in and out.
Yeah.
You got some distortions here with the other instruments, so it makes for a unique sound, and it's one of the most upbeat songs. And for that reason, it was one of my favorites. Then that takes us to one of his most famous songs, The Wind Cries Mary, ranked number 379 on the Rolling Stone Top 500 Songs of All Time. And you want to tell us kind of what this song's about?
It's got a great story. Mary is his girlfriend, Kathy. Her middle name's Mary. And that's why he called it that, because she hated the name Mary and hated me. So apparently, as legend goes, and she's backed this up, she was making dinner, they got in an argument, she smashed plates on the floor. He locked her in the bathroom, and somebody came and let her out, and she took off and was standing down below waiting for a cab, and he must have been looking out and seeing that You know, she had red hair standing under the red lights. And she finally cooled down, came back upstairs. And by the time she came back upstairs, Jimi had already written this song.
That's a good imagery here.
Yeah, and a lot of amping up of emotion.
Yeah, and I think this is his best written song on the entire album, and a good vocal performance too. I know that, you know, obviously Jimi's guitar playing is, you know, up close and personal, and rightly so, but he had a decent voice too,
yeah, he did, and on certain songs he really showcased. And certain ones you're like, okay, but I mean, when you're the greatest instrumentalist of all time, who cares?
And then we go into Fire, and this kind of is multiple interpretations, some more innocent than others. Some people have it more as a sexual song, but Jimi himself said that it kind of had the origin. He was over at Noel Redding's, the you know, member of the Experience.
Yeah, the bass player.
Yeah, his mother's house, and he went over to her fire. A Great Dane was in his way, and he said, "Move over," you know, kind of.
Yeah, which is in the song. So he's saying it's just literally that. There's nothing more than that, but who knows?
But this is a kind of just upbeat, pretty quick song, not a very long song. I dug it, and I just thought it was good.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, you don't have to really read into the meaning.
No,
there's not many lyrics in it. It's just a banging song. All right, Trey, and that takes us to Third Stone from the Sun, by far my least favorite track on this album. If you love Hendrix, and you probably do, you're not watching this. Sorry, I couldn't stand this
wasn't
song.
for you,
This wasn't for me. Here's what Jimi says this song's about. This is straight from Hendrix. It's about a visiting space alien who, upon evaluation of the human species, decides that people are not fit to rule the earth. He destroys their civilization, and this is the part that's unbelievable, and places the planet in the care of chickens. This is what Jimi said. I don't have much else to say about this song. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, this would be my least favorite too. I don't dislike it as much as you. I thought the instrumentation here, though, was really good.
Always.
All that to say, though, yeah, this wouldn't be my favorite song by any means, but I grew to appreciate it, you know, the more you listen to it. And then that takes us right into Foxy Lady, also in the top 500 songs of all time.
Yeah, number 153.
Yeah, so it's up there. I really enjoyed this one, too, as we're coming to a close on the album, kind of about how Jimi wants a girl, and wants her now. He's gotta have her type of deal. Very different from the previous track, and
very
more upbeat. And one of the famous Hendrix solos is found within this as well. So
yeah, awesome song. Agreed. All right, Trey, that takes us to the title track and the final track on the U.S. edition of the album, Are You Experienced?
Yeah, and it was interesting here, there's no bass, and there's just repeating guitar, drums, piano.
Played backwards.
Yeah, and they're played backwards. So,
very innovative.
Yeah, so just another example of how Jimi was ahead of his time in the studio. And in my opinion, this is the most underrated song on the record. It starts very nice, just kind of building up. You hear a weird little sound, and then it goes right in there, and just talking. Are you experienced? Some people have kind of interpreted that as, have people experienced you? Have you made a mark on the world?
Yes, that's the most popular interpretation. I like that.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it makes you think, like, am I just being a bum around here?
Yeah, am I just existing?
Or am I being experienced? So great way to end the record, I think.
I agree, and that takes us to our favorite tracks. For me, Hey Joe, The Wind Cries Mary, are my two faves, and I mean, I also like May This Be Love.
Yeah, and I'll echo those and add in Are You Experienced and Purple Haze, which takes us into our overall rating. Shawn, what are you digging on this one?
Well, I'm going at 8.0, and I know this thing, like, it's the 15th greatest album of all time according to Rolling Stone. I had to listen to this album a lot. I always listen to these albums a lot. The first listen through, I didn't really like it. I didn't know much Hendrix. I knew Purple Haze, but I really didn't know much Hendrix. The more I listened to it, the more I appreciated it. However, you have to take a step out of it and go, wow, this was so innovative. I mean, it's
the fact this came out in '67.
The stuff he did, it forever changed all types of genres of music. This is even the infancy of heavy metal, who groups that would come in the early mid-70s would borrow from the guitar riffs, and they would. So like, Jimi was just so far ahead of his time. So for me, it's an 8.0. It's not an album I'll go back and listen to much, but that being said, as a guy who just loves music, it's just a tremendous album. Now, Trey, what about you? What do you give this album?
Yeah, so for me, man, this is, as I said at the start, this is one of my favorite records of all time. I'm going to 9.75 on this. That's the highest we've done on this channel
by far.
so far. And you know, man, I just think top to bottom, aside from the third stone from the sun, a little misstep there, personally for me, I just think every track on here hits, and just the instrumentation of this is so tight, so clean, so technical that it's, you know, not like much you're ever going to hear. That about wraps it up, I guess, for us today, guys. I appreciate you, Shawn.
Definitely enjoyed it.
Experiencing Hendrix with me.
Exactly.
You know, man, and if you guys like this album, like this review, please leave a comment below. Let us know what your favorite track was on this, and as I said earlier, be sure to hit that big subscribe button. We upload twice a week, have a variety of genres from the 60s all the way up to now, and we hope you enjoyed this. We really appreciate you guys. Happy listening, my friends, and we will see you next time.